is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
The time right now is 4:27. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey. We want to talk about a few stories before we get into the show this morning, starting with the latest COVID-19 numbers in the state. This is the latest as of the noon hour yesterday. That's when we get the latest numbers from the state health department. We had more than 500 new cases. That's lower than what we've seen the past week or so. 5 new deaths reported yesterday as well, bringing the death toll to more than 2,700 in our state. We know that more than 775,000 people across the Hoosier State have been tested for COVID-19 so far, and the positivity rate is standing at about 8.8% as of today. So we'll continue to keep you updated and take a look a little bit deeper into what those numbers mean coming up here in our show. Something else we want to talk about, though, are other people dealing with other medical issues during this pandemic. So our Kelsey Anderson is talking to a family with children with cystic fibrosis, and the parents tell us that this is kind of a normal for them. It's a new normal for us, being careful and worrying about our immune systems. This is something they've been always dealing with due to their diagnosis. So they're asking you to think about them when you're wearing a mask. Mask up to protect the people that don't have as good of immune systems, so that you can help protect them during this pandemic, as they're already dealing with other health issues. So we'll talk to that family and hear a little bit more about their story coming up here in the show. Let's take a turn right now to our forecast. Alyssa Donovan is standing by with a look at radar. And Alyssa, it was so funny on my drive into work this morning. It downpoured for maybe 1 minute. Yeah. And then it was perfectly dry the rest of the drive.
Yeah, and so we are going to see the potential of maybe a couple of those this morning and into the midday. But besides that, we are in the clear. A lot of us are not going to see any precipitation, and that's just remnants from that cold front that pushed through yesterday. But you can see most of us are starting with that cloud coverage this morning. Again, maybe a spot quick shower around the area this morning and into the midday hour. Besides that, most of us are not going to see that precipitation. We're going to see a mixture of sun and clouds today. 75 degrees for the high. So what's going on is that cooler air is starting to settle in, and we are going to see a streak of dry and quiet weather in the forecast. We do have more chances of showers towards the weekend, but I want you to enjoy the middle part of the week, because we are going to experience some really nice weather in the coming few days.
All right, Alyssa, thank you so much. Well, something else we're talking about in the middle of this pandemic are those back to school plans. And so we've been talking a lot about what school districts all across the state are doing to keep students and staff members safe. But a whole other issue is what colleges and universities are doing as they're bringing students back to campus. So our Rafael Sanchez traveled down to Johnson County to get a look at Franklin College's back to school plan. They just released that to the public, alumni, students, staff yesterday. So we'll break that down for you coming up right here on Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
As more districts begin the school year online, it can be especially difficult for students with English as their second language. What IPS says they're doing to make sure that those kids are given the support that they need. The White House and his COVID-19 task force continue to butt heads over the state of the virus. The very latest on the disease's spread across the country. And Eli Lilly is at the forefront of a possible treatment for COVID-19. The next steps they're taking to use antibodies to prevent people from getting infected. But first, here on our Tuesday, we want to thank you for joining our team on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. Alyssa Donovan is standing by in studio today. Alyssa, I'm kind of liking these cooler temperatures we've been having. It's kind of refreshing out there.
Yeah, so it doesn't feel like August outside. Over the next couple days, it's going to feel a little more spring-like, a little more fall-like with those temperatures. And this morning, we're starting with those cooler temps in the 60s, a little cooler to the north, 61 in Tipton, 62 in Peru, it's 64 in Indianapolis right now. So a mild start today. That humidity in the air is going to subside as we head through the day, and that's just due to that passing cold front that came through yesterday. That's continuing to pass through and deposit that cooler and drier air. We do have just a few visibility issues for extreme southeast counties this morning. We are down with that visibility just because of some fog that has developed. We're going to keep an eye on that for you this morning, but if you are heading that direction, you might want to you might experience some slowdown. So what's going on right now is we had that cold front move through yesterday. That's what those clouds are still hanging around from, and we have high pressure building in today. What that's going to do is sort of lock in these conditions that we have over the next couple days here. Temperatures will be a little bit below average. Usually we are in the 80s this time of year. Today we're going to be into the mid 70s. So it is going to be a cooler day, a little bit less humidity in the forecast as well. I'll have more details coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Alyssa, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic. This is I-70 out in Greenfield near the rest area, where you can see traffic is moving along up to speed, both eastbound and westbound for your commute. No crashes, no delays in this spot to slow you down. Be aware as you're getting closer to the Indianapolis area, we have ongoing construction projects planned in a few different spots, so just keep that in mind. But everything is traveling up to speed, and let's take a little bit closer look. This is over on the east side, I-465 and I-70. Right now, everything is traveling up to speed in that area. Of course, throughout your morning, we'll keep an eye on your roads and let you know if there are any crashes or delays, any slow spots you need to avoid. New overnight, a man is dead after a shooting on the northeast side. This happened just after 10:30 last night on 35th Street near North Keystone Avenue. Police located the victim, who was pronounced dead at the scene. Details on a suspect have not been released at this time. Anyone with any information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS. Now to the latest on the COVID-19 outbreak and how it's impacting Hoosiers across Indiana. Let's take a look at the latest numbers. The State Department of Health confirming 582 new cases of the virus. That brings Indiana's total number of cases to more than 68,000. 5 new deaths were also reported. 2,780 Hoosiers have died from COVID-19. More than 775,000 people have been tested, with about 8.8% of those tests coming back positive. Several central Indiana school districts are already being put to the test when it comes to COVID-19. Students in multiple districts have already tested positive for the virus, with school only just beginning. So we asked the state if it plans to provide more guidance on how to keep students and staff safe. The Department of Health tells RTV6 it's not tracking cases in schools right now. There's no requirement for the schools to have their safety plans approved by the state. But the Department of Education says districts are required to update their continuous learning plans. The DOE plans to hold a media briefing this week to provide more information. In Washington Township, officials announced fall sports will be played after all. The school board voted in favor of allowing students to resume athletics. The reversal comes nearly 2 weeks after a woman whose son plays soccer at North Central shared concerns with RTV6 about the original decision to scrap sports. According to the resolution, Marion County Public Health Department guidance must be followed. The district will not provide transportation for practice, and athletic schedules cannot interfere with e-learning schedules. Washington Township started school last week completely virtual. Well, remote learning is going to be tough for so many families, but it's going to be particularly hard for the families who speak English as their second language. 22% of IPS student body is English language learners. That's roughly 6,600 kids. The district is assuring families that need it that this will be addressed this school year as they start classes on the 17th.
For our English language learners, there are still requirements that we have in terms of communication with them, assessments, support services that they get during class, that we're still, obligated to make sure we're meeting.
Superintendent Johnson there says that they're in the process of developing programs to fill different needs of students like English language learners. Because this is a huge task, they're open to community member suggestions and offers for help. This Thursday, families can stock up on food at a mobile pantry at the Anthem headquarters here in downtown Indianapolis. Fresh fruits, vegetables, meat, and other staples will be distributed from 10 to 2. Anthem teamed up with Gleaners Food Bank for this event. According to advocates, food insecurity is a problem for an estimated 1 in 5 Hoosiers during this difficult time. Dr. Anthony Fauci is defending his colleague, Dr. Deborah Birx, after President Trump called her, quote, pathetic for saying the U.S. has entered, quote, a new phase of the pandemic. More cities are cracking down on large gatherings that can spread the virus. ABC's Megan Tabrizian has the new data on the virus, including some good news and some bad news.
This morning, new disagreements among the White House and the coronavirus task force.
What we're seeing in some of the yellow states and other states is that same insidious increase in percent positive.
The virus is receding. In hotspots across the South and West, we've seen slow improvements.
President Trump contradicting Dr. Anthony Fauci about the state of the virus as the U.S. death toll surges past 155,000.
I don't agree with Fauci.
Just hours earlier, the president publicly blasted Dr. Deborah Birx for the first time, calling her pathetic in a tweet after she warned Sunday that the pandemic has entered a new phase. While new data shows daily cases have now dropped below 50,000 for the first time since the 4th of July, according to an internal FEMA memo obtained by ABC News, deaths are up 24% from a week ago. Mississippi, now the state with the highest positivity rate. 21% of people tested were infected. Nearly every ICU bed in the state is full. And now new trouble for schools. In Georgia, nearly 300 teachers are out sick after one district required them to return to school last week.
It's very hard to focus on the content, to focus on what I'm paid to do because of this health pandemic.
And in Maryland, the governor has overturned a county decision that would have banned private schools from opening until at least October 1st. The move now clears the way for students, including President Trump's son, to return to class.
We must be flexible and open-minded, and one size does not fit all.
Back in Washington, the White House has notified employees it is now mandatory to participate in random COVID-19 testing. Senior aides who are with President Trump on a regular basis are still tested daily. Megan Terizian, ABC News, San Diego.
The time right now is 4:38 on our Tuesday. Pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly says it's now in the final stage of testing monoclonal antibodies to help treat COVID-19. That's a manufactured antibody therapy drug, which Lilly hopes will offer short-term immunity to people. It could be used as a bridge until a COVID-19 vaccine is approved.
So we know from preclinical experimentation that the antibody has the potential to block transmission of the disease. In other words, if we give it to an individual, we're testing to see whether they're now protected from getting infected with the virus.
Lilly says it's recruiting 2,400 nursing home residents and staff for a trial, a population hit hard by the pandemic. It will determine if the therapy reduces the rate of infection and if it can reduce COVID-19 complications. As we reported back in June, if this proves to be effective, a treatment could be available by this fall. The city says Indiana Avenue here in downtown Indianapolis will remain closed through Thursday for the Black Lives Matter mural. The image is now complete along Indiana Avenue from Blackford Street to West Street. Here's a look at the finished mural from our RTV6 drone. The location was once a prominent area for Black-owned businesses in the city's early days. The Indianapolis Urban League donated supplies and community leaders selected Black artists to finish the project. The national conversation about police brutality, racism, and racial injustice played a role in the creation of that mural, and we want to help continue a conversation. Every Tuesday this month, RTV6 and our partners at Radio 1 will host a discussion on racial issues. The first session of the series, it's called The Why, Exploring the History of Race in Central Indiana. It starts this evening at 5 o'clock on the RTV6 Facebook page. Well, COVID-19 is especially taking a toll on people with diabetes. Coming up, a look at how the virus is disproportionately impacting those individuals. Hurricane Isaias made landfall in the Carolinas overnight. We'll take a look at the damage and where the storm is going to hit next. Alyssa.
And we are almost done with the precipitation. We have maybe a spot shower possible today, but most of us will be dry, and then cooler temperatures will prevail for much of the work week. I'll have the details coming up next.
Welcome back. The time right now is 4:43. It is Tuesday morning, and here's a look at the south split in downtown. I-65 here and I-70, where traffic's traveling up to speed in all directions. No major crashes or delays to slow down your commute at this early hour, but of course we'll keep you updated. Well, the coronavirus has disproportionately impacted people with specific health conditions like diabetes. The Diabetes Association tells us that 40% of COVID-19 deaths have been from those with this disease. 90% of the hospitalizations have been people with diabetes or other underlying conditions.
Diabetes was a health crisis and epidemic in this country before the pandemic. What the pandemic has done really is shine a very bright light on an old problem.
The association's CEO, Tracy Brown, has lived with the disease for 16 years. She's also worried about additional financial struggles brought on by the pandemic. Even before COVID-19, 1 in 4 people were rationing their insulin just to get by. Brown says the current unemployment rate is higher among people with diabetes, and there is a page of resources available for anyone who's struggling right now at diabetes.org. You can also call 1-800-DIABETES. It is 4:44. Negotiations are starting to make a little progress on the next coronavirus relief package. That's what lawmakers on Capitol Hill reported last night. Democrats and Republicans are starting to agree more on issues like money for schools and food for the poor. However, they're still at a crossroads when it comes to extending the $600 unemployment benefits, postal service funding, and aid for renters. Negotiations will pick back up again today. Survivors of human trafficking are getting a little help from the government today. The Trump administration is expected to announce a $35 million grant at the White House event. The money will go towards organizations in 33 states to help with transitional housing. Survivors will be eligible for money for rent and other living expenses for anywhere between 6 months and 2 years. Organizations will also be using the grant to help victims find jobs and get job training. The U.S. Postal Service says it will be able to handle the extra mail from November's general election. This comes after President Donald Trump suggested USPS could not because of its old equipment. Mail deliveries have recently slowed down by at least 2 days in some places, and workers blame the new procedures pushed by Postmaster General Louis DeJoy. USPS has also said that it will run out of money by September if it does not get emergency funding. But the Trump administration blocked the money approved by Congress and instead demanded reforms within the Postal Service in exchange for the loans. Today marks 1 year since 9 people died. 17 others were injured during a shooting at the Oregon District in Dayton, Ohio. A police officer took down the shooter, and the bouncer on duty, Ned Pepper's Bar's Jeremy Ganger, jumped into action. Ganger says that he has PTSD because of what happened and that the support of the community, who calls him a hero, has made all the difference.
We all love each other. We have each other's backs. We talk. We're always there for each other. It's a great community to be part of.
Granger says that he was just doing his job and credits police for their quick action in stopping the shooter. A memorial was placed in the bar yesterday with Post-it notes from residents thanking officers for their bravery and remembering the victims. Category 1 hurricane Isaias has made landfall in the Carolinas. Areas along the coast are experiencing some extreme flooding, including Myrtle Beach. The storm has wind speeds maxing out at 85 miles per hour. The National Hurricane Center says that those speeds have begun to lower as it continues up the coast. It's projected to hit Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and New York throughout the day today, and then it's going to move up to Maine by tomorrow. Meteorologists with the National Weather Service say Isaias should bring the strongest winds to New York City since Superstorm Sandy. That was almost 8 years ago. Back here at home, though, it is 4:47, and we have some cooler temperatures out there. Alyssa, what can we expect for our Tuesday?
Yeah, so we are going to experience some calmer weather thanks to Isaias. It's helping stall out a cold front right across our area, which is going to keep our temperatures a little bit cool and also bring us just some less humid air over the next couple days. We are in that quiet stretch of weather that I was talking about yesterday. Our temperatures are going to be below normal. We're starting with our temperatures pretty close to average this morning, but by tomorrow morning, we're going to dip down even further, and then we are going to see some rain chances return to the forecast by the weekend. But enjoy that next couple days because it's going to be really nice outside. It's not going to feel like August. It's going to feel a lot more like fall in the forecast. Right now, 63 degrees in Indianapolis. It's 61 in Kokomo and 64 in Bloomington. A lot of us seeing some cloud coverage this morning, some clearing skies in some areas to the south, and we are going to continue to see that clearing throughout the day. What's going on is high pressure is building in along with this cold front. That's going to stall out, and then we are going to see that high pressure in control today, which is going to help clear out some of those clouds, and then we are going to see those cooler temperatures. So taking a look at our TrueCast, we do have just some lingering moisture in the air from that system that moved through, so we can't rule out maybe a quick spot shower this morning and into the midday hour. So just taking a look at TrueCast, you can see starting with that cloud coverage, maybe a spot shower in the morning and in the midday hour, but a lot lot of us will not even see that precipitation. That's going to stay up in the clouds, but we can't rule out maybe a quick shower or two. Besides that, though, we'll see some clearing throughout the day and then some peaks of sunshine by the afternoon as we hit our daytime heating, which is going to be a little bit cooler than normal this time of year. Our temperatures are going to be dropping about 10 to 15 degrees below average. So over the next couple days, we will start a bit of a warming trend. We'll be back into the low 80s by Friday, which is where we should be this time of year. But today, Wednesday and Thursday, we are into the mid and upper 70s, so just a bit below average. Today, we're starting with that small chance of a spot shower, mostly cloudy skies, and then we will start to see some clearing as we head through the day. Highs will be into the mid 70s. Some areas may struggle to hit that just due to that cloud coverage over the area this morning and into the noon hour. And then as we head through the rest of the week, we are going to continue with that nicer weather Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with just a subtle little warming trend on the way. Saturday, partly sunny, maybe a spot shower possible, but our better chance of storms comes in Sunday and Monday, and that's when that cold front gets on the move again. That's also we're going to see the humidity return to the forecast and those chances of storms.
All right, Alyssa, let's take a look right now at traffic. This is I-65 all the way up at State Road 32. You can see traffic here is moving along up to speed both northbound and southbound on the interstate. As you're traveling through the Boone County area, I want to remind you about some ongoing construction we have. We have construction closing the exit ramp northbound I-65 at exit ramp 141 near this area. So just keep that in mind as you're traveling this morning. That's an ongoing project, but it looks like everything here is moving along up to speed this morning. So let's take a turn to the north side, I-465 here near US 31 and Meridian Street. You can see traffic there is traveling smoothly as well. Right now, no crashes to report, so that's great news as you're heading out the door at this early hour. Well, if you build it, they will come eventually. The Field of Dreams Major League Baseball game has been postponed to 2021 because of the coronavirus. The very first Major League Baseball game in Iowa was supposed to be next week at a farm in Dyersville. That's the site where the 1989 movie Field of Dreams was originally filmed. It would have been a matchup between the Chicago White Sox and the New York Yankees. It's unclear who will be playing there instead on 2021. Kind of a bummer. Well, before he was a professional wrestler, he was a football player, and now Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson partially owns a football league. He announced that he and his business partner, Danny Garcia, joined an investment firm to buy XFL. They bought the league for $15 million. It was supposed to hold its inaugural season this year, but it was also canceled due to COVID-19. So if you were alive in the 1990s or the first decade of the 2000s, surely you remember the Got Milk advertising campaign. Well, it is back, but this time it's for the TikTok generation. The latest promotions shows Olympic swimmer Katie Ledecky swim the entire length of the pool while balancing chocolate milk on her head. The dairy industry says the campaign is their attempt to capitalize on the spike in milk sales during the pandemic. They say that could be because people are at home eating more. A local central Indiana girl is getting top honors in a national competition. We're going to introduce you to Emma Stamper and her accomplishments as a Braille Challenge champion. And for families living with cystic fibrosis, these pandemic precautions are unfortunately nothing new. Coming up new at 5, the safety measures they're asking you to follow. It's 4:52 here on our Tuesday. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So a local girl from Edinburgh down in Johnson County is one of the best in the nation at Braille after winning a national competition. Emma Stamper won first place in the 2020 Braille Challenge Finals among other visually impaired first and second graders. She was one of more than 1,100 contestants all across the country. Emma was a top Braille reader and writer and also won the Excellence in Spelling Award over all the age groups. This event is normally held in Los Angeles, but it was held remotely this year due to the pandemic, so we want to wish a big congratulations to Emma. That is so cool. All right, Alyssa, let's get a check of our forecast. Looking ahead at the 7-day, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, looking nice. I'm happy to bring this news to everyone today. We're going to see a really nice, quiet period of weather over the next couple days. Starting with this morning, we have partly sunny skies, or we'll see partly sunny skies rather when the sun comes up across the area. 75 for our high today, so a bit cooler. Can't rule out maybe a stray shower yet through the midday hour as that system continues to stall out across the area. And then we'll see a bit of a warming trend throughout the week, but those temperatures staying below average back into the upper 80s by the weekend with chances of showers and storms Sunday and Monday.